Yo, what is up, you guys? It's Godson, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I am proud to have Vetemore on my channel. And guys, I feel this is going to be really cool to just talk about illuvium, the tokenomics, the dynamics of the game, and probably what we could see in the future. And so I brought another YouTuber on. I feel like probably this is the best, fit for my channel, having other YouTubers and, AMAs with other people like myself. So I feel we're going to have a good AMA today. Vetemore, thank you for coming on. Could you just give a brief introduction to yourself, and then we'll just jump into the questions?
It's a pleasure, man. Well, my name's Vetemore. I make YouTube videos about illuvium, and I started maybe like 4 months ago, to maybe 5 months ago, getting into illuvium. 4 months ago, making videos about them, and yeah, that's me.
That's awesome. And so really, after watching all the AMAs, I found that speculating on tokenomics, Revdis, and utility of illuvium really is intriguing to me. So I wanted to talk about, these types of things in our video. So let's just talk about the price. The price really, we were up about 1,000. I think the highest that I saw it was $1,800. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it went up to that high. I was like, wow, if you didn't get in by now, you missed out. But it actually dipped back down to around 500. Now, myself, I got in around $300 to $400. I put everything in right there, and I've only seen it going up. So, tell me about your thoughts on where you see the price right now, and where do you see the future of the price going? Could you maybe just speculate on, where you see the price going of illuvium, and how, if new people want to get in, should they get in now while it's down, or just wait? It could dip lower. What are your thoughts?
So, in the long term, the price of actually ILV token will be like kind of somewhat a lot easier to predict. I'm talking in like a year or two, because it's going to be extremely tied to the revenue distribution that's taking place within the illuvium game, and entirely based pretty much like mostly around that. Especially in like 3 years, it will be super stabilized and based entirely on the Revdis. But in the short term of like right now, what's sort of happened is that the token price, we've all seen it drop, but it actually hasn't dropped because ILV's looking terrible. It's dropped. Majority of the drop is actually because Ethereum has dropped. So at the moment, like it does what the rest of the market does in a more exaggerated way. So if Ethereum goes up a bit, illuvium's probably going to go up a bit and a bit more. If Ethereum goes down, illuvium's probably going to go down and a bit more down. So it's just more volatile version of the entire market overall. And until we actually see like the game starting and revenue distribution starting, revenue distribution won't have that much of like any impact on the price until it starts, obviously. And then it will be starting soon, because we will have the illuvatars and the land sale. But what Kieran has said is that they're not. So the way that revenue distribution works, obviously, is any money that they make, they 100% of that they use to buy ILV token, and what that means is that increases the price of ILV, and 100% of that ILV token that they've bought, they then distribute that amongst the stakers, meaning stakers are rewarded for basically investing and believing in the project. So the let's say the land sale, that will be like millions of millions, tens of millions of dollars all at once coming in. If they just put that into the token straight away, like the price would go above 2,000 probably immediately. But they're not going to do that. They're going to slowly over time use that to buy tokens. And then once the gameplay starts, they'll use that money like consistently. But from like huge, like big sales, like the land sale, they'll be doing that over time, so that there's a steady stream of revenue distribution taking place, which means that over time there will be like upward trend. But in the short term, like, should you buy right now or not? Like, the best advice is, like, if you've got any amount of money that you want to put in, you can, like, right now is a nice price to get in, but also like it could drop lower, but it could end up going higher. So as always, like, dollar cost average in, buy a bit now, see what it does. Or if you're just happy to just buy it at the current price because it's good enough for you, then buy it, and then stake it. But like, there's no guarantees that it won't go down further. Obviously, we've got the March 31st token unlock coming, and that's going to have some influence as well, potentially, depending on how they play that.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for that. And I'm also looking at the supply of illuvium or ILV token, and that's true. A lot of the coins that you see in the market right now are kind of tethered to the Ethereum. The fluctuation of Ethereum and Bitcoin. So I believe that's why a lot of coins are like seeing a dip right now. But the supply of illuvium is like 10 million. And I was just in an AMA with Star Atlas, and their supply is like 36 billion. So it went down to 4 cents. So I would say that this is a good price to get in. Don't quote me on that, but just looking at and what you talked about, like the whole sustainability of it. I'm into a lot of projects right now where the sustainability isn't really that good. So having illuvium, redistribute that, and you said they were going to put that back into the economy of it. I could see them doing that. If the price dips too much, maybe that might be a good thing to bring it back up and put in, some supply there. But let's talk about.
Can we just go cover that for 1 second? So
yeah, let's go ahead and cover that.
When you're talking about the sustainability of other projects, when it comes to illuvium, the sustainability within the game and making money within the game actually has nothing to do with ILV price, because ILV isn't the currency that's used within the game. The currency used within the game is Ethereum. You can spend SILV in the game.
That is right.
But the actual currency within the game is Ethereum, right? And let's say you want to do something within the game, you need to buy fuel within the game, and fuel is its own type of token, right? But that token of fuel, it's gonna have basically like a high boundary and a low boundary. So let's say one fuel costs $1. That fuel token will never cost more than, say, $1.20, and it will never cost less than 80 cents. They're going to put a boundary on it. And
regardless if it goes up and
regardless
down,
if it goes up or down, they're going to put bounds on it. And what that means is there will still be fluctuations within those bounds so that people can use market strategy, buy low, sell high. But there won't be like in a lot of projects, like in Axie Infinity, what's happened is people are earning SLP, and then they go to sell that SLP, and like that SLP isn't worth anything, which is smooth love potion, not the illuvium SLP.
So let me ask a little bit more about this then, because now I'm curious. We have things in the game that we have to pay for, whether it's with Ethereum or SILV, correct? And so, like, if I want to travel and I have to pay the traveling fee, is that contingent to the price of illuvium, right? Because Ethereum, the price of Ethereum, is the traveling fee might be the price of whatever price they set with Ethereum, and Ethereum's going up and down. There's a lot of volatility. So they don't really have a stable coin, right? So
they do have a stable coin. Yes, so to travel, you don't pay using your Ethereum. You actually pay using fuel. Now, to get the fuel, you need to buy it using Ethereum. But once you buy the fuel is the one that I said has the capped price. And that is basically a stable coin that has minimal fluctuation, meaning you can buy $1,000 of fuel. And if tomorrow the Ethereum price drops to half, the amount of fuel you have is still the same. And the price for traveling is a set amount of fuel, not of Ethereum. Meaning if you got in on, like, let's say the game starts and the price of Ethereum is $3,000, and then you got in 2 years from now when the price of Ethereum is $100,000, if you put 1,000 in, it still buys you $1,000 worth of fuel, and that the fuel price remains the same, so you can still get in. So somebody getting in the future won't be at a disadvantage for coming in late.
Okay, so that fuel you said is a stable coin, right?
Essentially.
So with the new land that's coming out, are we paid in that stable coin or are we paid in Ethereum? How is that working? Because I know that the game resources, right, we're creating the resources to give to people and they purchase that with Ethereum. But yeah, and I understand like when the market's going up, we should probably sell right there. When it's going down, maybe conserve. So you're saying that this stable coin, is there a price at the stable coin? Could you expand on that a little bit?
So I don't know the exact like price that stablecoin will be set at, but that's kind of an arbitrary number anyway. But when it comes to land, the land is directly connected to this because from the land you are mining fuel, literally that fuel, and then you sell that fuel into a liquidity pool, which has Ethereum and fuel inside of it, and then people in the main game are buying the fuel from that liquidity pool, basically from the people that are, the owners of the land. And then the way that Illuvium is able to control that is that only something like 5% of the supply of fuel will be coming from this first land sale, or maybe 10%. Over like when they have all 5 land sales, it will be something like 50% or like 25%. I'm not certain on that number. Don't quote me, but they will control some of the supply of the fuel themselves, meaning if fuel price gets too high, they can control that price so that it stays within those boundaries. And then the way that you guys get paid is by selling your fuel for Ethereum, and then you can take your Ethereum out of that wallet or whatever and sell it for dollars if you want to, and they go to your bank account.
Yeah, and this is such an interesting topic to me. Like just the whole concept of playing against other players with Ethereum. Like we're gonna have to battle other people for Ethereum, and that just makes me like, I'm just gonna farm. I'm not gonna play PvP. I'm just PvE. Just do the slow grind that way. But we also had an issue with SILV, if you remember. It kind of crashed, and people were using that pool, even the co-founders, I believe. But where do you see SILV going? I know we're going to speculate on this, but where do you see the price of it? Is it going to be something that we're going to use for long term? Because I think, don't quote me if I'm wrong, but SILV will be going away eventually, right? And we're just going to be using only Ethereum. I believe that's correct.
So first, I want to go back to something you said, where you said you're just going to be grinding the PvE. You don't have to, when you're playing in an arena, you don't have to play for Ethereum. That's optional. So there's going to be 2 different types of arena. There will be the ranked arena where you're playing purely for rank. And if you get a higher rank, you get the chance to win some ILV tokens as a reward or something like that. And through playing ranked, you're also battling other alluvials and earning XP for the ones that you're using to battle. But then there's also a Leviathan arena. And in the Leviathan arena, like all the alluvials, they're not normalized and made to be a fair, perfect system. The alluvial that you put down is exactly what it is. So it's a bit more like cowboy, like we're going nuts here. And there you bet actual Ethereum, and there you're gambling ultimately. So that's another thing entirely. So you'd still be playing the ranked arena, I assume. And then when it comes to SILV, originally there was going to be sort of like a timeline on SILV where it stops happening once we stop earning yield from the staking. Then no more SILV can be claimed. But it looks like they're going to be introducing something that means that, let's say you're playing the game, and let's say you're playing in the ranked arena and you win some ILV, they will give you the option potentially to be, instead of claiming that ILV as ILV, instead that they could just burn that ILV and give you SILV instead if you want to. And the reason why you might want to is that then you can just immediately use that SILV in the game. And the reason why this is good is because we're burning ILV, so the maximum supply is never going to be 10 million. It's going to be less. And as people keep burning, they're also going to make it so that revenue distribution that's received can also be claimed as SILV, meaning ILV that's being bought from the market and handed out as rewards. People then claim it as SILV instead of like getting it. they get ILV, the SLV, and that ILV is then burned, so decreasing the total supply. So in the long term, ILV supply continues to decrease, which means that the token price goes up. They could even at some point do a token split.
Well, I wanted to go ahead and switch topics just a little bit, but I still want to talk about Revdis because, we do have a land sale coming up. It was delayed because of the whole SILV issue, and, we're yet to see if it's going to be in February. It might even be pushed further than that, but, fingers crossed. I think the land sale is going to be one of the most pivotal points in, the illuvium game because it's going to be an auction, and there's only 20,000, I believe, 20,000 plus that we can get. Now, when we factor in that we have over, I believe, 100,000 Discord members, people are going to miss out. So, I was in the Cooper Fair launch. This is basically a game that Kieran is, he's not in the game, but he's a part of like the council over there. He's talking to them and they did an AMA. And so I saw like the coin going from like 11 cents all the way down. And then when people buy it, kind of like hovers, and then it meets the floor price where people want to buy in. So could you just talk about, the land sale? Where do you see this going, this upcoming land sale that we're going to have? Do you see this going like the whales are just going to buy everything up? Do you see that maybe it's just going to be like a slow thing? They're probably going to have some leftovers that no one wants. Or where do you see, the land sale coming up, and where, speculate on maybe even the Revdis of the land sales?
So I do see the Revdis of the land sale. That depends entirely on whether people use Ethereum or SLV to buy it. If like all of it is SLV, there's zero Revdis. Only the Ethereum that gets spent gets distributed as ILV. But otherwise, when it comes to like, we've actually got over 200,000 people now in the Discord, which is nuts. But when it comes to like, not everybody in that Discord is like has a big bag of money waiting to throw it into the land sale. There are plenty of people that do, but there's plenty of people in that Discord waiting for the game to come out and waiting to just play a game. And like 60,000 people signed up in the first 24 hours of them opening the application form for the closed beta. So there's a lot of people that want to play the game, but land will be an expensive thing, and not everybody will own land. I think the lowest price of a single land will probably be upwards of $1,000. So your everyday person won't be doing that. What do I expect to happen? Depending on where they set the starting price, we don't want them to sell out straight away, because then that means there'll be gas wars and they've set the starting price too low. And there'll be some waiting, and like people, if they feel that the price is fair and that they can afford to pay it, they will. Whales will have the majority of land. It's because they're willing to pay for it, and it's fair that whoever is willing to pay the most gets it. It's not like you don't have to have it. If you don't have any land, you can still play the land game, right? You can totally still play it. You just won't be earning money from it. On a side note of land, I'm not even sure if, like, unless you actually want to play the land game, as far as an investment goes, like, it's kind of all that land does is that you're basically earning a part of the entire revenue of Illuvium. So it's like another way to receive revenue distribution in a gamified way. So instead of buying land, if you can't afford to get a land, but you want to still make Revdis, you just have to stake into the Illuvium protocol. And you can do that without buying a single plot of land, just as well.
Yeah. And also your thoughts on like the Revdis. Where do you see that going? Because like with the land, I'm really gunning to get, a tier 4. It might be out of reach because I interviewed Kieran and he said, after the second day, you might be lucky. I'm not the exact quote verbatim, but you might be lucky if there's still a tier 4 around on the third day. So this was something really interesting that I thought about. Would it be more profitable, since you know that some of these some of these lands, they're going to be random, right? You might get something, you know, in a different area that you probably don't want, with different, you know, resources that you're going to be, you know, pulling from. Would it be better to get maybe 3 tier 1s, which have more, you know, more of a chance of getting you that random, maybe Krypton or something that you want to pull from, or just getting 1 tier 3, which has, you know, more perks to it? What are your thoughts on that? And, you know, what do you think people could be earning? I know this is speculation, but I'm just curious what you think people will be earning with these lands.
So, if I'm being honest, I've absolutely no idea. But the only indication, because the amount that they'll be earning depends entirely on how many people are playing Illuvium. So, like, what I do expect is that in the very beginning, you won't be earning a lot. And the reason for that is that less people will be playing Illuvium, and more people in the very beginning will be playing using SILV, which doesn't generate any revenue distribution. As the game progresses, less and less people using SILV, more people using Ethereum. Generally, revenue distribution goes up overall. As for which tier, like what are the differences between the tiers? Well, if they have revealed how many of each type of thing is on each land, like element sites or fuel sites, and like looking at that, it kind of looks like tier 1 and tier 2 lands are somewhat better than higher tier lands, but that's also because we don't know, like, just mathematically, but we also don't know like what kind of a bonus amplifier the those like extra sites do, because they have these other things. So it is actually pure speculation on that level, as for which plot of land is technically more profitable. But the other thing is, let's say like 5 tier 1 lands cost the same as a tier, maybe like 50 tier 1 lands cost the same as a tier 4. Let's say that. Even if those 50 tier 1 lands earn you technically more than the tier 4, it might still be somewhat better to get the tier 4, just because you can play that by yourself. Whereas to get the 50 tier 1s, you can't play 50 pieces of land by yourself.
Yeah. Yes.
So you need to then get scholars to play them for you.
Yeah,
and you
scholars,
need to
exactly. Exactly. So if we get that's also something I have to take into account there. Like, if I can get 5 tier 1s and have a bunch of scholars, is that more profitable than just getting 1 tier 4, which I'm playing myself? And, you know, that is, I guess only time will tell. But if you have, you know, 5 tier 1s that have an element or fuel source that your tier 4 doesn't have, maybe that's more profitable. This is just, you know, something I have to consider, and a lot of people have to consider which way we're going to do this. If, you know, the tier 4s sell out so fast, maybe it might not be such a bad thing if we're just going for tier 1s. But let's move on. Let's talk about the illuviums.
Also, the tier 4s, they're not going to sell. There's no selling out fast that can take place. The sale takes place over 3 days in like 1 hour batches.
Right.
And each one of those batches that's released, it has an equal proportion of tier 4, tier 3, tier 2, tier 1. So in every batch, you have there's tier 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s to choose from to buy. So even on the second day, the next batch release has the same amount of those things.
So I was confused, because I could have swore, like, when they were announcing it, there was only a certain amount of tier 4s that they're going to have. I think it was like 850. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or okay, so each batch has 850 in each batch, or sorry?
No.
Am I saying that wrong?
No. So let's say, like, I don't know, each batch has maybe like 100 tier 1s, like 20 tier 2, I'm making up numbers here, 20 tier 2s, like 5 tier 3s, and like 1 or 2 tier 4s each batch. And like, totally made up numbers, but over the course of all the batches, it adds up to 800 and whatever you said tier 4s.
850.
So it's like a percentage of them, an equal amount. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm really excited for the land, and you know, I'm not too anxious for it, because really, with the price that they set it at, they said 20 Ethereum. I don't have that right now, but if they give me some time, maybe like a few more weeks, my SILV might keep going, and maybe I could get it. But
How much
yeah, let's
SLV
just
do you have?
uh, well, that's the thing because with the whole situation with the SILV pool, I actually did buy in. It was 3 hours after the announcement because what I did is I just turned on my phone and I saw the price. I'm like, buying opportunity, bought it, and then I went to the Discord. They're like, don't buy it. So I have, I would say maybe
So
like,
before you bought those, how much did you have ish?
uh, gosh, well you could edit this out. I'll just jump it up right now. But I believe I have almost enough for a tier 4. Let me just bring this up real quick. Okay, so I've got in pending rewards 31, which is 18,000 ILV pending rewards. And the SILV I have 25, but you're gonna have to knock off at least like 10 SILV because of the pool situation. So I'm just waiting, hopefully if
Oh, so you have like 15, basically,
yeah, something
plus
like
the
that.
pending rewards. Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, if they give us more time, maybe I can get it, but we'll have to see. Okay, so let's just move on with some of these questions here. I want to ask you about. So let's just talk about the YouTube side of this. With the whole Illuvium Zero, with Illuvium the game, right? YouTube, Twitch. This is something that I've been thinking about for a while. Excuse me. I could play the Illuvium Zero game because really, not a lot of people may not cover that. They probably just want to go for the Illuvium game, or I could do a stream and a grind on Twitch, or I could just do tutorial videos on YouTube. I don't know which one's better, but taking into account that Illuvium's probably going to be a grinding game where you're going to have to, catch all these alluvials. It just makes me think, like, what are you going to do when the game is actually released?
So I definitely plan to buy at least one plot of land, literally just to make videos about it. I don't know how much time I'm going to spend doing that. I'll be making those videos before the main game has actually come out. But I'm not like that excited about playing the land game. And once the main game comes out, maybe I'll just give that to like a scholar or something to play, like through Polemus or something, because they'll be facilitating that, or maybe sell it. But I would like to hold it for the long term. It would be nice to have one. But what I plan to do is I definitely plan on making tutorials and things, as I'm doing right now, kind of just explaining things, being part of the community, doing podcasts. But I also plan to full time be streaming the main gameplay. I'll definitely at the start might be doing like 12 hours a day or like a filthy 16 hours a day, just going hot and heavy. And then definitely dialing it down over time.
I'm really considering that sponsorship, man. Get them scholars out there and start working. Okay,
Yeah.
well, hey, let me get you two more questions and then we'll get out of here. So this one might be a little random, and this one might be more in line of Illuvium, but Kieran just tweeted about Illuvatars today. I'm not sure if you saw it, but he said Illuvatars with two of the perks on them. Not sure the technical term, but one could have sunglasses, another one could have a bandana. But if you get two of those on one Illuvatar, that might be more profitable than a land. Interesting. What are your thoughts on Illuvatars and some of these NFTs? Because I'm actually eyeing that gold badge. I'm thinking, should I get that or not? Gosh, it's so hard to choose.
Well, when it comes to the gold badges, I'm kind of not into them. Maybe because I don't have one. That might be partly why. But when it comes to like Illuvatars, I'm quite excited because when you're like playing a game and you've got your little avatar, like everyone likes to have a cooler one, and it means a lot to have a cooler one. And these OG ones, like down the line, no one's going to be able to get them. So getting a bunch now is a pretty decent investment, and they're going to be somewhat like low cost, somewhat, so that everyone can buy them. There's not going to be a limited supply. There'll be like an unlimited supply of them. until like a certain date, and if like after that date, they're never being minted ever again. So it'll be that kind of a situation. As for like the attributes and what if you have two, like I don't know enough about them to be honest. Illuvatars are probably the thing that I least like understand because there is actually very little bit of information out about it so far. So I'm very excited to find out more.
No lie, bro. If you, I forgot the name of the NFT, but there's an NFT of one of the alluvials standing on a trophy. This thing was literally last week $10,000. It is now $20,000 right now. I'm kind of upset I didn't scoop that up, but wow. I think the Kieran might be onto something there with the NFTs going really high. So we'll have to see, but I'm definitely going to be scooping those up. And let me just get the last question here. This is kind of off topic, but what are your top 3 coins in crypto right now? This is always something I'm asking people because I'm always trying to find some new stuff. I know you're probably going to say illuvium, but just maybe spice it up. Tell me what your top 3 coins that you're invested in, because they could be all Gamefi, gaming tokens. I think illuvium really is my number 1 coin, and that's coming from doing tons of research and finding stuff that's paying out. Illuvium with their 300 APY is something incredible. So it's my number 1 coin right now. And I'm just curious, what are your top 3 coins?
So my number 1 probably is illuvium. I wasn't even going to say illuvium because I assumed that was just like, that came without saying, I thought you meant other 3. But my next one would probably be Ethereum because I strongly believe in Ethereum long term. I also have definitely like a soft spot for Solana. Solana's treated me well. I can't deny it.
Yeah.
As for the future of Solana, I think it might have a good year ahead, but I don't know. I think Ethereum's going to have a huge year, especially with more aspects of Ethereum version 2 coming in and proof of stake starting. So I'm excited for the future of Ethereum. As for like other coins, I haven't spent much time in the last like 3 months anymore looking at coins just because I'm just looking at Gamefi. I'm also on the side, I have staked some FNC tokens, which is from Fancy Birds. I haven't staked like a large amount or anything, but it's just a little side bet because they do look pretty cool as a potential like platform for mini games.
All right, and do you have any last words? You just want to tell people where to find you and close it out for us.
So you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube. The links to both of those will be included in the description of this video. Also, I will be doing a podcast interviewing yourself, as you know, on my own channel. So you can check that out on my channel as well.
All right, and thank you Vetemore for coming on. You guys, hopefully you had a great time watching this AMA with us. We're not the co-founders or anything, but we love the game so much, and we're just speculating and talking about what we feel is going to be in the game, and just really truthful stuff about the whole tokenomics and utility of illuvium and the coins and the alluvials. Really interesting stuff. So hopefully I can have you on again, and we can do this again in the future. So thank you so much for coming on, and I'll see you again.
For sure, bro. For sure. It's been an absolute pleasure. Anytime you've got more questions or whatever, let me know.
Thank you.